Hello everyone, the purpose of this video is to highlight the importance of effective communication and rapport building in nutrition interviewing. Viewers will learn to recognize nonverbal cues and understand how body language can indicate a client's level of comfort and engagement. The video will also demonstrate how a counselor's verbal and nonverbal responses, particularly judgmental reactions, can impact a client's willingness to share information. By analyzing these interactions, viewers will understand the significance of creating a supportive and non-judgmental environment that fosters openness. This aligns with the motivational interviewing theory, which emphasizes collaboration, client autonomy, and self-motivation. By applying the spirit of motivational interview, which is PACE, which is partnership, acceptance, compassion, and evocation, counselors can encourage clients to explore their own reasons for change, leading to more sustainable behavior modifications. Additionally, this video incorporates client-centered care, which highlights the importance of active listening, reflective questioning, and allowing the client to take an active role in goal setting. Rather than imposing solutions, counselors should use open-ended questions, summarizing, and affirmations to help clients discover strategies that align with their own needs and values. The social cognitive theory is also integrated, demonstrating how verbal and nonverbal communication influence client self-efficacy and behavior change. Understanding how observational learning reinforcements and client-environment interactions can shape nutritional choices, which help counselors tailor their approach to support long-term dietary adherences. Through this session, viewers will gain a deeper understanding of how effective counseling techniques grounded in these psychological and behavioral theories can enhance the client experience and lead to more productive nutritional interventions. Valerie, a student juggling a double major and varsity sports, has been struggling with her eating habits. Feeling overwhelmed by her busy schedule, she decides to visit a dietitian for guidance to improve her nutrition. This scenario highlights the importance of understanding a client's lifestyle, barriers to change, and autonomy in decision-making, which are key aspects to client-centered care.
Oh, come in. Hi, Valerie. So nice to meet you. Please have a seat. How are you doing today? Did you find the room okay?
I'm good, and yeah, this is my first time here, so yeah, I found it okay.
Okay, perfect. I know it can be a little troublesome to find, especially if you haven't been here before. So you're a student at this school. What year are you in?
I'm in second year.
Okay, nice. And what program are you taking?
I'm majoring in kinesiology and doing a minor in dance and French studies.
Wow, that's so interesting. I wish I could speak French. Sounds like you have a really full plate on your schedule. How are you finding everything?
I'm feeling a little overwhelmed by everything, but I really like my courses so far.
That's good. Yeah, I can kind of relate. I'm a recent graduate actually of this school's nutrition program, and I was really overwhelmed as a student, especially second year. That can kind of be the hardest, when you're finally, are you living off campus now, or are you still in residence?
I'm living off campus with some roommates.
Oh, nice. How are you finding that?
A little difficult.
Yeah, I can imagine. I've had some roommate situations in the past that were not ideal, but you live and you learn and you kind of get through it. I hope it's not too bad for you right now. I'm just going to take some notes while we do our interview today, just to keep track of everything. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay.
Perfect. And are you taking any extracurriculars outside of your program right now?
So I'm part of a varsity volleyball team.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been playing volleyball for a really long time now, so I'm really glad I get to do that at a varsity level. And I'm also part of just a university club, extracurricular as well. So. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, it definitely sounds like you have a lot on your plate right now, and you said you might be feeling a little overwhelmed. I can imagine just juggling all these responsibilities. It's gotta be pretty hard, especially to eat. So what does a typical day of eating look like for you right now?
So I start off my day at around 7 or 8:30 a.m. I'll have a cup of coffee with a splash of milk and maybe a sweetener. And then I'll have a bagel toasted with butter. If I have time to prepare it in the morning. But if not, then I just take an apple with me to class. And then my classes end around like 2:30 or even 4 some days. So that's like when I'll eat my next meal. And usually it's like a bowl of noodles with some vegetables. I just wanted something like simple and quick because then I will have like practice for dance or training for volleyball, which usually lasts around like 2 to 4 hours. And then I'll come home kind of late, around like 8, 9, or even 10 p.m. Sometimes. And then when I get home, I'll just like eat a bowl of cereal.
Okay.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the session, Valerie's body language is quite reserved. She enters the conversation with her arms tucked into her sleeves and her posture is closed off. Her voice is soft and low, and she avoids making much eye contact with the counselor. This could suggest that she feels either nervous or self-conscious about opening up. Research in interviewing and counseling emphasizes that nonverbal communication plays a major role in rapport building. Effective counselors should avoid non-productive behaviors such as slouching, frequently looking at a watch, or displaying a blank face expression. Instead, maintaining an open body language, making appropriate eye contact, and matching verbal and nonverbal cues creates a much supportive environment.
So, how often would you say you have time to eat that bagel in the morning? And how many days a week are you having enough time?
I think maybe around like 4 times, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 or 4 times. Not a lot.
So, like half the week. So, then the other half of the week, all you're having is coffee and an apple in the morning? And you think that's enough to feed you until 3 p.m.?
Maybe.
Okay.
During the interview, the counselor asks Valerie about her breakfast choice, which consisted of just coffee and an apple. The counselor responds with, "And you think that's enough?" while making a judgmental facial expression. This response could unintentionally make Valerie feel judged or defensive, which might hinder the conversation. Communication roadblocks such as judgment, unsolicited advice, or dismissive responses can prevent clients from fully engaging. Instead, counselors should practice reflective listening, which involves paraphrasing or summarizing the client's statements to show understanding and encourage further discussion. This aligns with the accurate empathy, one of the major components of motivational interviewing. Here's an example of a more supportive and constructive way counseling should be conducted when responding to a client's eating habits.
So, with your current routine, finding time to eat regularly sounds like a bit of a challenge, let alone preparing any meals in advance. Have you ever tried meal prepping or anything like that?
I've heard of meal prepping, and like sometimes my friends they do that too, but I've never really been super familiar with it. I've never tried, and I'm kind of unfamiliar of how to do it. So yeah.
Okay, well, that's understandable. It must be hard to stay energized throughout the day when you're having these big long gaps between meals. Do you notice anything like during class or practice in regards to your energy levels?
A key part of this session is the counselor's ability to make Valerie feel heard and safe. It's important for the counselor to avoid judgmental comments and instead create an environment where the client feels comfortable by sharing their struggles. Techniques such as open-ended questions, affirmation, and summarizing help facilitate client engagement. Rather than assuming or directing, the counselor might ask, "How do you feel about having coffee and an apple for breakfast?" This type of question encourages self-reflection and allows the client to express their thoughts without fear of criticism. In addition to open-ended questions, affirmations play a significant role in reinforcing positive behavior. For example, the counselor could say, "It sounds like you're trying to balance nutrition with your busy schedule." This acknowledges the client's efforts without being judgmental. Summarizing, such as saying, "So, you're saying that mornings are tough and it's hard to fit in the bigger meal?" This helps the client feel understood while also reinforcing key points in the conversation. These strategies align with the motivational interviewing principles, ensuring that the client feels in control of their own decisions, which ultimately leads to better adherences to recommendations.
Okay, so from what I'm hearing, it sounds like you're too busy to make a meal or even grab a snack on the go. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I agree. I feel like since I'm not really working right now, I'm kind of on like a budget, or I keep a really tight budget just because I'm really cautious of like how I'm spending my food, since sometimes even my roommates will eat my food. So sometimes I'll just not eat that day, or I'll eat something really simple or cheap, like maybe instant noodles or something like that. Additionally, I feel like sometimes I save my money to purchase things for like my varsity team or like extra like club activities. So that doesn't leave me a lot of room to spend money on food. I also think whenever I go grocery shopping, like I want to lean for healthier foods, but I always associate healthier foods, like I feel like they're more expensive. And I also want to try to buy like organic foods, but then I also look and they're really expensive, so I don't really know what to do there.
I can imagine how frustrating it is to find your food going missing, especially if your roommates are eating it. And you're already on a tight budget, so it sounds like you're pretty mindful about your budget, which is responsible. But at the same time, it feels frustrating that those healthier options aren't as accessible. Like you mentioned, eating organic, that can definitely cost more, especially for a second year student. And it makes a lot of sense when you're juggling multiple financial priorities, like your extracurricular activities, your class course materials, and then food on top of that. That can be such an intense way to balance it, and it can definitely feel like a struggle. And I understand that food can sometimes take a back seat when those other expenses feel more urgent. Has this been going on for a while now?
Yeah, I feel like ever since I moved out of residence in first year, I wanted to gain some more like independence for myself, so that's why I try to manage all of these situations, like financial things on my own. And I don't really want to bother my parents to ask for money and stuff like that, so yeah.
Well, there's no shame in asking for help, especially when it's for groceries. I'm sure your parents would want to see you eating healthy and not struggling, and maybe you could even frame it as asking for help with your course materials rather than food, so that you have that extra money to spend on your food and you're not so stressed about paying for your courses and extracurriculars. Would that sound like something manageable you could do?
Yeah, I think that would be okay. That's pretty reasonable. Are there any suggestions of like low budget food items I can incorporate into my meals?
As the session progresses, we observe a shift in Valerie's body language. Initially, she seems tense and hesitant, but as the conversation continues, her posture opens up. She's no longer kept her hands tucked into her sleeves, and we see more of a natural movement and gestures. Her voice also becomes more confident, and she starts making more eye contact with the counselor. This transformation underscores the importance of active listening and motivational interviewing techniques. Motivational interviewing is not about instructing the client, but rather about evoking their own thoughts and opinions to facilitate change. This follows the spirit of motivational interviewing, PACE, that includes partnership, acceptance, compassion, and evocation. Partnership helps facilitate trust by ensuring that counselors and clients work together rather than taking an authoritative approach. Acceptance involves acknowledging and respecting the client's experiences, emotions, and challenges without judgment. Compassion is crucial in believing in the client's ability to make a positive change while providing support along the way. Lastly, evocation encourages the client to explore their own motivations and barriers rather than having solutions imposed on them. By integrating these principles, counselors can create an environment where the client feels empowered to make meaningful changes.
Yeah, I'd be happy to help you with that. Especially, I could help you with flyer shopping, price matching. There's even some stores around here that offer student discounts for their students, and I'd be happy to help you with meal prepping as well. I know you mentioned that before, but that would be in like a follow-up session. I think first we need to address our main issue of not eating enough, and just getting more meals and snacks in throughout the day. Does that sound reasonable to you?
Yeah. And I guess like now that we've kind of been talking about this, I do kind of realize and recognize that starting my day off with like a cup of coffee and an apple at like 8 or 7 a.m. in the morning, and then going without food until like 3 or 4 p.m., like that's I feel like that's like quite like kind of unreasonable in a sense, and I feel like that's like it's like no wonder I'm getting so hungry and I'm feeling so exhausted after all that time.
Yeah, it sounds like you're just noticing how much time has really passed between those meals. And I imagine that you must feel so drained, especially with all the physical activity you're doing between sports and dance and everything that you've mentioned. Do you notice any differences in your performances on the days when you're not eating as much?
I guess I do realize that I'm a little bit more sluggish, and on the days when maybe I don't, or like I eat just an apple in the morning, I do feel like I get a bit sluggish easier. Do you think maybe I should be eating snacks before, like even during my practice sessions?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's definitely understandable that you'd feel that way after a long day of not eating and having so much activity. Your body and your brain both really need steady energy to sustain itself throughout the day. So it sounds like it's been tough to maintain with your schedule. Have you noticed any like specific times of the day where you're really drained from the energy and you struggle to concentrate or focus?
Yeah, so I feel like maybe after my afternoon classes, maybe during that time, I feel like I'm losing a little bit of my concentration and focus because I've gone so long maybe without some food. And then later on in the evenings, I definitely feel like I start to lose more energy if my practices are really long, like let's say 3 to 4 hours. I definitely feel like maybe my performance quality might decline a little bit. Yeah, do you think I should be even eating in between like my practices, or do you think I should bring a snack to practice maybe? And what suggestions do you have that I could bring?
Yeah, so I definitely think that having a snack at your practice would definitely help, especially when you're saying they're 3 to 4 hours long. Having a quick carb source to give you that burst of energy will definitely be beneficial for you. I would personally recommend maybe a fruit, like a high carb fruit, bananas, grapes, apples even, something quick and easy. I also really like those squeezable apple sauces. That'd be a really easy way to take it on the go. You could have it like on the side for you and quickly get some carbs into you for that energy. I definitely think it's beneficial to have a snack.
Those are really convenient choices. Thank you for those suggestions. And I do really like bananas. I feel like those are really convenient and they're not too expensive as well, and they're just really portable.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely easy to bring with you. So did you have anything else that you wanted to go over with me today?
No, I think that's everything. Yeah, we covered it.
Perfect. Okay, so from everything that we've talked about, it seems like stress, time, and finances have all been big factors in how you eat. You notice that these long gaps between your meals have you feeling low energy and losing concentration, and then sometimes grocery shopping feels like a trade-off between cost and nutrition. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, it does.
Well, it makes sense. This has been a big challenge for you, especially as a second-year university student. Sounds like you're interested in making some changes though, and I'm really glad you came to see me. But I also want to make sure that these changes don't add any more stress into your life. Would you be open to exploring some options that might fit into your routine?
Yes, of course, that sounds lovely.
Perfect. So we're going to schedule a follow-up for 2 weeks, and then we'll see how things are going for you, and we can expand on your food knowledge and maybe even add on to some of these skills like meal prepping and meal planning. How does that sound?
That sounds really great.
All right. Well, it was so great to meet with you today, Valerie, and I look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you so much, Tilly. It was nice meeting you too.
To summarize, this session highlights the importance of rapport building, nonverbal communication, and motivational interviewing techniques in nutrition counseling. Valerie's initial reserved body language shifted as the counselor created a supportive environment through effective communication strategies. Recognizing the impact of verbal and nonverbal cues can greatly influence the outcome of a session, ensuring clients feel heard and respected. By fostering a collaborative, non-judgmental, and client-centered environment, counselors can significantly improve the effectiveness of their session. The spirit of motivational interviewing, PACE, which is Partnership, Acceptance, Compassion, and Evocation, provides a framework for counselors to guide clients toward meaningful and lasting change. These techniques emphasize building trust, reinforcing autonomy, and encouraging self-exploration.